an online course for the summer, and this was the most interesting option. I've never taken a course like this before, so I was curious to see what I can learn from it. How can I apply it?
Excellent. What are your thoughts so far?
I see the value in it. I mean, again, I've never taken anything like this before. I like that there's no like problems to solve. It's you make your own problems and solve them. So it's pretty interesting.
It is very interesting. Excellent. Thank you, Peter. Next one up, Jonathan, for having the courage to come on camera. Can we get your year in school, your major, and why you took this course?
Yeah, I'm a senior. I think I mentioned this in our first meeting, but this is my last class before I'm finally finished with my software engineering Bachelor of Science. Can you guys hear me okay?
Sure can.
Okay, just wanted to check. Cool. So just about finished, last class, and for this class, I was looking for a way to build my resume a little bit, do something that was going to challenge me in thinking about how I was going to be able to propel my career as I get into the workforce. I found it to be an interesting course, and I've been enjoying what we've been learning.
Excellent. Well, thank you again for joining us for this extra credit session. I hope we make it worth your while. And Vita Mika, I apologize if I said that wrong.
Hi, my name is Anvita Meka, and I am majoring in computer science. I am likely rising senior. I am enrolled in entrepreneurship because it is likely required for the computer science major for elective credits. Sometimes they require to take some electives, but I chose this entrepreneurship because it's easier.
And have you found it to be helpful and useful?
Yes, I have found it to be helpful and useful.
Excellent. Well, very good. Well, thank you for joining us, Vita, and we hope you find tonight's lecture helpful and useful. We've got about 2 minutes till we kick it off at 8:05. I'm going to try to keep it short tonight to 15 minutes or less. With that in mind, we got some new people in the course. I'm going to pull out some names of the hat to introduce themselves. Yaritza Rojo, excuse me. Your year in school, your major, and why you took this course.
Hi, it's Yaritza Rojo. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, okay. Hi, I'm a senior business administration, and I took this course because I started a new venture. So I was like, oh, I'm sure this is going to help me in real life. So I'm opening a business salon. A beauty salon, and I asked instructors if I can use it for this venture, and they said yes. So I'm excited because it's been helping me a lot.
Well, good for you. I'm glad it's helping. That's a very exciting thing to do at such a young age, and I applaud you for having the guts to go out on your own and do that. How's the beauty salon going so far?
It's been great. I've been having a struggle finding a location to lease, and I started working with the commercial agent last week, and she's helping me. She has a lot of knowledge. She's and I just found out she's a board in the bank I had registered in. So I'm like, oh, wow, it's going to be amazing because now she's a board member. And she was like, oh, I'm going to talk with the board at the bank, and I'm going to let them know that. Because my idea is like innovating the beauty salon industry. And I was telling her my business plan. She was like, oh, that's amazing. It's not common here. And I'm like, no. So I'm very excited.
Well, good for you. The best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Of course. One last one before we get started. Lauro Aguilar?
Yes. Hi. My name is Lauro Aguilar. Can you guys hear me? Just want to make sure.
Can.
Okay. Yeah, so my major is electrical engineering, and I'll be graduating by December. I'm taking this class because, first of all, it's one of the optional requirements. And I was very interested in the topics that they introduced in the summary. And so far, I find the topics very interesting, and I think they're helpful. That they give me a new perspective on how to approach different engineering ideas. Because like there was this one video where they're talking about how engineering and entrepreneurship is related, and so everything is about innovating, and that's where both fields merge, I think.
Excellent. Well, good for you. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you get a lot out of the course. With that, we will jump into the slides and make it a short one tonight because we're all very busy, and I got to get home and help my wife with some chores. Okay. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Beautiful. We are on
Yes.
to, thank you. We are on to the third module, customer development. Again, that's me, Brian Mitchell. I have been here a lecturer at the prestigious Arizona State, supporting this course for a couple of years now. And I really appreciate the opportunity to share my knowledge. And I really appreciate the opportunity to read a lot of your slides and presentations and see so much of the creativity and innovation coming out of this course. Okay, as we know, we like to start with a little bit of communications. I majored in communications at the University of Tennessee, and I'm a huge believer through my own experience in life that few skills are as simple yet misunderstood and as crucial yet underinvested in as communications. The way you communicate, both verbally and through the written word, and the way you listen and respond to that will have a huge impact on your success in your career, regardless of your field. Even the engineers who often put their heads down and solve complicated problems, the ones who can communicate well and tell great stories often will rise faster and farther within their organizations. So with that in mind, I like to add the words that we shouldn't say and the words that we should say. And this one is kind of counterintuitive, but I think if you think about it, you'll understand where I'm coming from. And the word is think, because think tends to speak to people's thinking brain, whereas feel speaks to their emotional brain. And most of us, most of the time, react first emotionally to any subject. And after we react emotionally, our thinking brain clicks in and we apply logic and rationale and, our experience in life and acumen and all those things. And when you say the word think, you engage that part of the brain first. But when you say the word feel, it can both be a way to engage the other person's emotional side and to soften the thing you are saying, to take a more neutral position, which is often the better place to be because it allows others to come in and participate in whatever thing you are feeling at that point. So as you go about your business of talking, writing, and listening, I hope you consider this and find ways to use the word feel rather than think inside of your language. Okay, so customer development. So I worked at a company called Synovia Solutions for many years, and then the company that bought us, CalAmp, and then I worked at another company called Transit Technologies that all served the K-12 student transportation industry, which is a surprisingly very dynamic, very complex industry, mainly for the reason that the yellow school bus is the, how do I say it? It is the largest form of public transportation in the country. And because of the nature of the precious cargo that they carry, the yellow school bus is designed to be the safest vehicle on the road. The color is not accidental. It's meant that way to stick out and be more difficult to get in an accident. And the vehicle is designed with all kinds of safety measures in mind. So what I did in my job was sold a GPS tracking solution as well as a timekeeping solution for the drivers. And when you're developing customers, you have to understand the world that they live in. You have to look through the eyes of the customer and see the problems they see, not the problems you see sitting outside of the problem set, which as you will all learn when you get into the world of work, is one of the hardest things to do. Because you are not blessed with the ability to be with your customer on the regular basis, because you have to be in your job, you can often drift away from the set of problems your customer has. And because we're all smart, clever people and have a good sense of the world, we can do a good job projecting what we believe the problems of the customer are. But as you spend more time with your customer, they'll tell you what their problems are, even if they're not the problems you're solving for them. And so when I worked for a company called Bite Curve, we developed a payroll and timekeeping and route management solution. And a lot of the problem that we solved was around a lack of drivers. Okay. And this problem has always existed because the job is such a difficult, stressful job with low pay and weird hours. And it's just got a million reasons why it's difficult to do. But after COVID, a lot of the people that were doing that job that were retired walked away and didn't come back. And so the industry that was already shorthanded lost even more drivers. And so it's your ability to understand that problem and position your product continually around that problem set, and always be asking your clients, what are all the second, third, and fourth order impact of that problem? Because the obvious ones are, well, we don't have enough people to drive the buses every day. Well, what does that mean? That means we don't have enough people for field trips. So what does that mean? It means we can't go on as many field trips. And what does that mean? It means that children have less enriching experiences, right? And it's your job to peel all that back and think about your solution as solving all of those problems. You'll find some of this is obvious, but a lot of it is not. And so it's incumbent upon you to, no matter how good you get at your job, to constantly be going back to the customer and speaking about their problems, and understand, like I just did, right? The 5 whys, like, and then what, and then what, and then what. From this initial problem of a lack of drivers, talk about all the things that happen within your organization that we can help you solve. The next company I worked for was one called SonicU that made a temperature monitoring solution. As time went on and I stayed longer in the job, we saw a very interesting trend in that we sold more of our units and got more leads in Florida and Texas and Louisiana and Georgia. And we sold the solution that went in medical fridges and hospitals. So you wouldn't think summertime temperatures would have that big of an impact on the performance of a medical refrigerator deep in the bowels of a complex medical facility or a research institution like Arizona State. But sure enough, the stress put on all of those systems throughout the year meant they had more problems. So it's your job, as you go out and think about going to market, to allocate your resources to reflect that reality. I would have never expected that when I started the job, that temperature monitoring for refrigerators that are within a controlled environment to begin with would be so heavily impacted by outdoor weather, and especially by seasonality, meaning we got more leads in June and July than we did in December and January. So it was almost like we were selling ice cream in some ways. But it's your job then to talk to your client and ask them, well, what else happens because of that? Well, humidity goes up. And what does that mean? Well, the humidity goes up and we're less likely to be able to run our operating rooms because they are super strict about humidity conditions in operating rooms. And what does that mean? It means operating rooms are our most important revenue generator within a hospital environment. And what does that mean? And these conditions that you would not think would necessarily impact revenue. Okay, someone is 15 minutes late. Come on, folks. I'm adding you because I want everyone to get the credit, but we got to be somewhat respectful of the rest of the class. So it's your job to be curious about these things and develop your customers around them. And then finally, if you've had these courses with me in the past, you know that I worked for a company called Vestige, and we made safety cameras that ostensibly were two-sided to track both road conditions and driver conditions. When we developed them, the main problem we thought we were solving was distracted driving and semi-truck drivers falling asleep behind the wheel because they were driving too long. It turns out, after you serve this industry for a while and you go speak to them, you'll learn that there's an enormous problem called staged accident around insurance fraud. And you'll find out again that it's concentrated in a handful of states. Geography is an enormous lever to pull in business. As you all go out into the world of work, I hope you will all remember that we do not live in one America, right? We all know this politically, but it's especially potent in business. The buyer of products who has the same job, same title, same location, same education, one's in Columbus, Ohio, and one's in Tempe, Arizona, will behave very differently based on culture, based on weather, based on seasonality, and based on the laws and cultural norms of that state. So what we found is that there was this scourge of staged accidents that was taking place in a handful of states. Well, it makes sense then to target our sales and marketing activities in those states. So again, it's your job to develop customers, right? The idea that you have is only as good as its ability to create value for a customer that is then converted into revenue. And when you're doing that, it is your job to constantly be out asking your clients, what does it mean you don't have enough school bus drivers? What does it mean when the humidity gets too high and it triggers a shutdown in the operating room? What does it mean that Florida leads the nation in staged accidents and there's a scourge of these and a full-on racket going on? And what are all the second and third order effects? And how can we help our clients solve those problems in return for revenue? Okay. So I hope that was, this feels like it was thoughtful. It's hard for me to do this because we all want to go back to think, but feels is the right way to position this. Do we have any questions coming out of this conversations? No, sounds like we're good. Did you find the work at Vestige to be rewarding? Very. I loved working at Vestige. The thing about safety cameras is, as we all know this from everything we've seen in the media, cameras protect the innocent. And there's so many people that make a living driving, and there are so many people that get wrongfully accused of accidents when the camera exonerated them. And so it was hugely satisfying to sell people a very good piece of technology that worked extremely well and could help protect them and their businesses and ultimately their livelihoods of them and their families. So it was a very, very satisfying way to make a business. And I worked with tremendous people. The gentleman who ran the company was a great businessman and a great leader. And the sales team that I worked with was very ambitious and knew how to get after it every day. So it was a great environment to work in. And ultimately, that's what it's about, folks. You're going to get out there and do many different things in your career. And it's always about the people you interact with and how you build something together. And at Vestige, we built the opportunity to help people protect them and their businesses from the vagaries of the road. Great question. I appreciate you asking that. All right, everybody, I got to get home and take care of my family. I appreciate all of you being here, and we look forward to seeing y'all next week.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you.